And welcome to the Bulloch Sports Report. I'm Josh Aubrey. Plenty to get to in this week's show. We begin on the college front where the Georgia Southern Eagles were able to notch their first victory of this season. A balanced offensive attack helped keep the Eagles in the game, and they are able to outscore Jacksonville State 10-0 in the crucial fourth quarter of the game. The defense struggled a lot during the game, but came through when they needed to in the fourth, holding Jacksonville State out of the end zone and keeping them off the boards. Georgia Southern moves to 1-2, led on the offense in that game by O.J. Anderson with 128 yards and 2 touchdowns, including what proved to be the game winner in that one. This week, the Eagles will take on the Maine Black Bears, a team that they were used to playing in the FCS playoffs back in the day. We'll hear from head coach Clay Helton and a couple players in just a bit. As for the area high schools, got a lot going on. The Statesboro Blue Devils went on the road, and the road hit back, unfortunately, at Bulloch Academy, where they fell this week. They're on the road once again, hoping to rebound, as they'll be at Bradwell. We talked to Matt Dobson and a couple of his players about how they look to rebound from this game. As for the Southeast Bulloch Yellow Jackets, they rebounded nicely from a loss 2 weeks ago to Calvary as they took care of business against Johnson. This week they'll have Windsor Forest coming to Fred Shaver Field. We'll hear from head coach Jared Zito and a couple of his players. As for the Bulloch Academy Gators, they suffered their first loss in almost 2 years. They've only lost twice in the last 3. And unfortunately, they fell at home to John Millage in that one by a final of 27-18. The Gators rallied in the fourth, but came up a bit short. This week, Bulloch Academy on the road at Strong Rock Christian. We had a chance to talk with Aaron Phillips and a couple of his players about the matchup. And as for the Portal Panthers, they're coming off a tough loss at home against Bryan County. And the Panthers will be in action this week on the road at Metter. All that and more coming up on the Bulloch Sports Report. And a reminder before we go to break, hopefully you'll never be in an accident, but if so, please give our friends at the Sullivan Law Firm a call, 912-489-8888, or online at thesullivanlawfirm.com. Northside Drive behind Remax Eagle Creek Realty. 3-2-1. Well, the Georgia Southern Eagles rebounded from their last couple of losses on the road in California. It was nice to be home at Paulson Stadium, a crowd of over 24,000, a lot of students on hand for this one against Jacksonville State. The Eagles falling behind in the third quarter, 34-31, but were able to rally and take this one, scoring 41 points in the contest. Hopefully they won't need to score that many this week as they have Maine coming to town. We had a chance to talk with head coach Clay Helton about how they rebounded with this win this past Saturday and how they're looking forward to another game at Paulson.
I was glad to see the areas of improvement that our team continues to make and moving forward as we get closer and closer to conference play. I thought the major thing in watching the tape that stood out to me is the continued improvement of the balanced run game that's really supporting a quarterback right now. You know, you have 84 yards in the first game, 145 yards in the second game, and then you rush for 219 off of 42 carries and really lean on that game. I thought it provided some advantage coverages that allowed us to have a little bit more explosive offense down the field. You averaged 6.2 a play, 11.8 a completion. So it was good to see the ball being pushed a little bit further and getting those explosive plays in. And we keep playing really good special teams. I thought it was at an elite level in this past game. It really was the separator as you go back and really study the game. Having those 3 kick returns that set up 3 scores were just huge. Our continued area of growth, I think, is I really want to see our defense do what they did about middle of the third quarter on, where I thought they did a great job of creating tackles for losses on first and second down, having great efficiency on first and second down, which created those third and long situations. Still need to find that extra turnover. This is back-to-back games where we only had 1 turnover gotten in the game. Josh?
Coach, when you've had a chance to look at the game film, is there anything that kind of stood out to you where you were pleasantly surprised at? And again, maybe on the flip side, anything that you're particularly concerned about?
Yeah, great question, Josh. I think the thing that stood out to me the most is our offensive line play and the maturity of our offensive line right now. You have those third, fourth, fifth-year guys, and you expect them to play like they did, giving up 0 sacks on the day, being able to create the run yards that they did. And then any time that you finish the game in the style that we did with 8 run plays in a row, not giving the ball back to a high-powered offense, I was really proud of those individuals as well as the runners. Our area of growth continues to be the area of defense, of being able to play like we did middle of third quarter and the fourth quarter. We held that team to 10 points in the second half, 0 points in the fourth quarter, and that was the difference in the game. And we really have the capability, I believe, in playing that way all the time. We're lining up better, we're assignment better, our pursuit to the ball is a lot better, and now we're making the plays. And that, if you end up making that, the reason Brandon Bailey's defense is so dangerous is because of third downs. He can get off the field in third down. We've got to be able to get out of those 3rd and 1 to 5 ranges and be in those 3rd and 7+ ranges.
Coach, your offense puts up over 40 points this past week, and you win a track meet. You've got Maine this week. It's going to be a little tougher to assess. The next week you've got James Madison. I know you don't look ahead, but you can't help but know that you've got a tough opponent coming up after that. You're not going to probably be able to put up 40. It'll be tough to do that against the JMU team. What are you going to need to see in particular in this game? I know you mentioned getting the third downs away from 3rd and 1 into 3rd and 8. Is there anything else that you look at your defense and say, we have really got to fix this?
Well, like I said earlier, I would really like to see the creation of more turnovers. We try, our average needs to be, our standard is 2 a game, and right now we're sitting at 4 total turnovers, where after 3 games you wish you were at 6. Then you'd be sitting here +4 on the year and really pushing strongly ahead. And so that would be the other area that I hope that I see in this game, is the ability to create some great field position. Our special teams did that for us with the kick returns in the last game, but also those turnovers, they play huge factors in field position, especially when you're playing these running football teams and the opportunities offensively dwindle down. You can only score 40+ points if you get great field position and those extra opportunities. Special teams created that last week. Aiden Jackson created it with a huge play on a turnover. I hope to see more of those.
Well, as for the Eagle players, they know that they have to keep things rolling on the offensive side of the ball and shore things up on defense. From the offense, we had a chance to talk with Georgia Southern offensive lineman Pishon Wimberly. Pishon, you guys really seemed to break through with over 40 points in this last game. Where do you feel like the improvement on the offense came from? And is this something that you feel like you guys are going to be able to continue to roll into the Maine game?
I feel like the improvement comes in and is just being toned in on the details in the week and just getting better week in and week out from the first 2 weeks in Cali. And then we do feel like we finally were able to find who we were and who we can be, because we really did always know who we could be, but now we're finally putting it out there. We take a lot of pride, and that starts with our coaches, Coach Lank, Keenan, Khalil. They all have a lot of respect for us, and we like them too. So it's just doing our job, and they know we can do our job at a high level. So it's just going out there and doing it. The thing that's clicking well is that we're all together, we're all on the same page. That's the thing about playing with 5 guys, is just knowing what each and everybody is doing and trusting what each and everybody is doing. So if we're all on the same page, we all know what we're all doing, we're all keyed in, it's pretty simple. You just got to go out there and do your job.
Tracy, I know you guys struggled a little bit for about 3 quarters, and then you guys really played well and shut them out in the 4th quarter. What do you feel was the big difference in those first 3 and that 4th, and how do you continue that this week?
I think it's just consistency and making the plays that are there to be made. I think Coach Bailey puts us in great calls to have us +1 and to put us in position to make the tackles that need to be made. And I think that was the biggest difference. We were just more consistent in the fourth quarter and doing our jobs the right way. I just think we're more prepared from the teams we faced before. We've been facing a lot of rushing attacks, and like I said, we just need to make the tackles that need to be made, myself included. Something I want to grow in. I think I've been not as good as I can be in that specific area, and that's something I'm going to improve on for my team this week.
Tracy, you lose a guy like Mar from last year. Who stepped up on defense to kind of rally the troops and be that voice in the huddle that you guys need to see? And do you feel like that's been something that's been consistent this year?
It's really been a group of guys. One's the name is Davion Rose, Brendan Harrington coming from App State. He's been a big leader for us, Brandon Tyson. And those two linebackers in general have been a big help to us, and they've been growing every week and helping us win.
So once again, the game coming up on Saturday, once again, a 7 o'clock kickoff at Paulson Stadium as they'll be taking on the Maine Black Bears. All right, stay with us. High school coaches and players coming up to preview their matchups. Gerard Pre-Owned of Statesboro voted best place to buy a pre-owned vehicle 12 years running. 3 decades of experience in serving our community. Locally owned and operated, every vehicle undergoes rigorous multi-point inspections and thorough reconditioning. Flexible financing for all credit types, whether you're starting fresh or building credit, they've got you covered. Experience the Gerard difference today. 2330 Northside Drive West in Statesboro. The Bulloch Sports Report is brought to you in part thanks to Morris Bank, the proud sponsor of our Player of the Week segment. Well, for the Statesboro Blue Devils, life has been pretty tough on the road over the past few seasons. This year, the only loss that they had going into this game at Glen Academy was at Veterans, and a tough one where they let things kind of get out of hand, a turnover and a couple of blocked punts in that one. Much of the same happening on the road at Glen Academy. Statesboro stayed away from the turnover bug, but it bit them. 3 costly turnovers in their game. Coach Matt Dobson and a couple of his players we had a chance to talk to, knowing that they have to clean things up in order to pull off a victory in a big region matchup in Hinesville against Bradwell. Well, Coach, a tough loss at Glen. Tell me a little bit about what you feel happened there and what you can do to prevent that from turning into 2 in a row.
Yeah, we just didn't execute. Had a lot of penalties, that called back some big plays, had a couple touchdowns called back, and just did some uncharacteristic things as far as turning the football over. We turned the football over 3 times, all in their territory. And when you get big plays called back and touchdowns called back, and then when you are moving the ball and get turnovers, it's going to hurt you. And so that was the biggest things. And then defensively, we honestly didn't miss a ton of assignments. We missed just more tackles and gave up a few big plays in that area.
So the road's been kind of a tough place, and now you've got to go on the road. Kind of got your back to the wall, even though it's still early in the season with Bradwell. Yeah,
certainly we got to play better on the road. We've talked with our leadership council about it, talked with our whole team about it, talked with our coaching staff about it, and bouncing ideas about what we can do to play better on the road. We certainly got to do it. We got a couple road games, 3 of our next 4 on the road still, and so got to play good on the road and got to execute while we're out there. But certainly this is a big game, a region game with Bradwell being 1-1 in the region, just like us, makes it a big game. Need to get a win and get a leg up on them in the region for sure.
You know what can happen there? A lot of penalties the last time you went there. What's the game plan going in from an X's and O's? And also, I would imagine you're being really careful this week.
Yeah, I think, we talked to our kids this morning about just control what we can control. We're not going to make a ref change his mind about a call here or there. We control what we can control. Go in there, run the football, play ball control offense. They got explosive players on the offensive side of the ball. We need to keep those guys off the field as much as possible. And so go in there and control the clock, run the football, and do what we've done in our 2 games we've won. Go do that. Take care of the football. Don't turn it over, and help our defense out by keeping them off the field, keeping the ball out of those explosive players' hands.
Here with Statesboro High receiver Gage Newsom. And Gage, a tough loss there at Glenn. How are you guys feeling after that game?
Yes, sir. We these road games get to us a lot, but we're about to go out practice, hit it hard, and see what this week brings us.
You were coming off a great offensive performance there 2 weeks ago against Greenbrier. What didn't happen, and what do you feel like you guys have to do to get back to where you were?
We just practice. We got to start off good, go throughout the week, and just keep going. We just can't decrease in practice. We got to keep improving and keep going on and just keep making something happen.
Well, you go back on the road again this
Yes, sir.
Friday. You're at Bradwell, and you've got to know that your backs are a little bit against the wall,
Yes,
and
sir.
that you really need to win this game. What do you expect? What do you expect to do?
We're on the road again. We're gonna, we're feeling different. We're gonna be different this time. We're gonna play a little mad this game. And we beat them last year, so we feel pretty good about this game. And yeah, we feel pretty good about going on the road right here. We're gonna do good, stay locked in, and just be prepared.
Here with Statesboro High offensive lineman Andrevius Ferguson. And Fergie, a tough game there on the road at Glenn. What do you feel like happened, and what do you feel like you guys have to do to turn it around?
I feel like it was just a lack of communication up front overall. I wouldn't blame it on anybody specific, but throughout the O-line, throughout the skill players, some on defense as well, I feel like it's just a lack of getting the communication from our coaches onto the field. And something we could do better is the little things. The little things is what gets you the farthest. Sometimes we missed our steps. We buried our heads. We didn't get off the blocks we were supposed to. We didn't ID demands we were supposed to. And as you can see, the little things do matter, and they do hurt.
So you've got Bradwell. You got to go back on the road again. It's going to be a challenge for you. You know what happened there a couple years ago. How are y'all feeling going in? What do you think you have to do?
Like my coach be saying, bro, you got to have that alpha mentality. You got to get at it day after day after day. So today we're going to go hard at practice. Today, tomorrow, throughout this whole week, prepare. We're going to look at film. We're going to come ready. Because as you know, we not doing well on the road, but we're going to change that.
This is Paul Newman, owner and broker of Statesboro Real Estate. I have been in the business over 20 years and completed well over 1,000 transactions, helping buyers, sellers, and investors navigate the home buying process. One of the things that sets us apart is our tie to the university. I'm the official real estate agent of Georgia Southern Athletics. With our team of experienced brokers and agents and our online presence, we can help you navigate any deal. Along with Statesboro Real Estate, I'm the co-owner of PMG Rentals, where we manage over 1,300 properties, improving the lives of investors and tenants since 2009. Whether you're looking to rent, buy, or sell, make sure you call Paul.
At Pope Construction, we've been trusted to build Southeast Georgia for over 50 years. Family owned and operated, we take pride in delivering quality projects on time, every time. From schools to churches and government facilities, our team is committed to integrity, excellence, and building relationships in the communities we serve. Learn more at popeconstructionco.com. The Southeast Bulloch Yellow Jackets showed they were able to rebound from their tough 28-24 loss against Calvary. They took care of business against Johnson this past week, and now they have Windsor Forest coming to call for homecoming. This Friday, we had a chance to talk with head coach Jared Zito and a couple of his players about how they're feeling going into this week. Here with Southeast Bulloch head coach Jared Zito, and coach bounced back nicely from that loss, the tough loss a couple of weeks ago to Calvary, and came back, played at home, and had a good play on the offense and defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I was really proud of our guys. It felt good to get back out there and play well and of course win, big region win, a home night. All those things were really good. Offensively, it was a kind of a weird night. We only had, I think, 23 snaps with our first team offense all night. Had a bunch of big plays. And then on defense, we had two scores defensively, one pick six and one a scoop and score. So it was kind of a strange night. There's still some things to clean up every week. You're going to try to improve on something, but overall felt really good. And then we'll move into this week, which is homecoming for us.
You got homecoming. It can be a distraction. You've got Windsor coming in. I think the players probably don't see Windsor as kind of being on your same level. Usually that can mean a team that can sneak up on you. How are you feeling this week?
Well, homecoming's always tricky. You want to see the school have some pride and tradition, and you want your players to enjoy it to a certain degree. But I try to tell them to enjoy it during the school day. The school day ends. Let's get back to business as usual in terms of working. The way we handle a game like this would be like we handle any other game. But my message really always is, yes, we're gonna scheme up and practice against some of the things they do or they've shown. But it's got to always be about improving, us improving versus us. And so I think if we keep that focus, we'll be okay. Our guys have had some, I've seen some good leadership and good maturity out of our group this year. And I think, what I've seen from them, especially since the Calvary loss, is I see a different team that's really hungry and seems to be bought in more, if that makes any sense after a loss. Yesterday we probably had our best Monday practice of the year. So far, I'm going to lean on our leadership, but I'm excited to see what comes and happens this Friday.
Is there any particular area that has stood out to you recently?
The things that we're doing well or things we need to work on? Yeah. Well, I think we're playing really well up front. Offensive line, it's been a trademark for us here for a couple of years. Those guys have really come together. It's really it's fun to watch them. They're having fun trying to get people on the ground. And, of course, they lead the way for everything else that happens. Of course, we got, good running backs, and we've been able to throw the football a little bit. But our offensive line is probably the group that I'd say, as a unit, is playing the best.
Here was Southeast Bulloch running back and defensive back Colby Smith. And Colby, coming off a big win, how important was that after the tough loss a couple weeks ago to Calvary?
I think it was really good for our team. It helped us a lot get some morale up and getting us ready for homecoming this week.
What do you feel like you guys did well in this past week, Friday's game?
Well, we put up some points on offense, and for our offense, the way we work, that was really impressive. And we need to work on some things, but overall we were pretty good.
Your defense scored a couple touchdowns. I know that's got to be exciting for y'all.
Yes, sir, it is. When we can go out there and create turnovers or make them punt the ball, then that really helps us out and puts some points on the board for offense.
Where do you feel like you guys are doing well?
Right now, we're running the ball really well. The guys up front are doing a great job. And as a team, we've got to improve on securing the ball, and a lot of that's on me. So.
For you personally, playing on both sides of the ball as long as you have, does that take a wear and tear on you? How do you look at that?
It does, yes, sir, but we practice hard both sides of the ball during practice, so by the time we get to Friday, I'm ready for it. And we've got some guys, our twos are really good, so it helps a lot.
What makes you more excited, getting a pick or running for a touchdown?
That's a tough question. I think I'd have to say an interception because they're just really hard to come by, but interception, yeah.
Being able to start since your freshman year here at Southeast, what's that been like for you?
It's been great. I think I've developed into the player I am today because of those since freshman year moving on, so it's really helped me.
Here with Brant Horst from Southeast Bulloch, tight end and also a linebacker for the Jackets. And how are you feeling about the way you guys rebounded after the Calvary loss?
We did exceptionally well with the rebound and definitely help our mentality and our effort for the game.
You're leading the team in tackles by far. What is it about what you've learned to be able to lead the team in tackles?
It's not really important to me. It's important about winning the game and succeeding on all sides of the ball, offense, defense, and special teams.
Do you feel like you have a nose for the ball, though? Do you have an idea where it's going?
No, I usually just read my keys and learn from my coach's understanding and the key to read.
As far as what the team is doing well, what do you see right now?
We're doing exceptionally well with the secondary, I would say, and we also have really good O-line, so Kobe can run the ball down and back without anyone touching him.
You got homecoming coming up. It can be a distraction. What are you guys thinking about Friday? How are you going about this week of practice?
This week practice is more about focus on ourselves and not one else because of a HOCO and all those crap that teenagers do. We want to focus and tone down the mechanics and the little details that we have going on.
Pojo's Country Store is proud to support all Bulloch County and surrounding area athletics. We've been fueling up for almost 20 years, with 3 locations in Statesboro and locations in Sylvania, Wadley, and Bagsley. Pojo's Country Stores is the real MVP. And a special shout out to our Bulloch Academy Gators. Go get them.
Well, the Bulloch Academy Gators have not had to rebound from a loss in well over a year. Their 15-game win streak came to a close this past Friday as they played a very tough John Millage team ranked number 1 in the state in GIAA Class AAA. This week, the Gators hoping to rebound as they hit the road for Strong Rock. We had a chance to talk with head coach Aaron Phillips about how he feels the team will respond and a couple of his players as well. Here with Bulloch Academy head coach Aaron Phillips, and something you guys haven't experienced much, not even in the last couple years. You only had 1 loss in the last 2 years going into this game, and a tough loss to JMA. How's the team responding, and how are you feeling?
Well, hats off to John Millage. I mean, it's anytime you can go play a team of their caliber. They have 2 Power 5 guys over there, and those 2 guys were players. I mean, their quarterback just received his first, Power 4, I guess is what the correct term, but just received his first offer. I mean, he's a 6'3", 190-pound quarterback, and he throws it really well. And so, he was 9 for 11 with a touchdown the other night, and the Asa Wall is a really good football player. A 6'3", 225-pound tight end linebacker, and he has offers from Georgia and Alabama and Tennessee, Vanderbilt, and a bunch of other schools also. So I mean, those guys don't just they don't just pass those things out because you pass the pretty test. He can play, and he had 3 touchdowns the other night, and he was just he outmatched us a little bit, and we got to do a better job of gang tackling and rallying to the ball. I mean, there's a chance we could play some other guys that are that caliber of player. But I think the biggest thing I'm going to take away from it is we never back down, and we never quit. I mean, ultimately it's a 1-score game, and we're doing an onside kick right there. There's some little detail stuff. I mean, and that's the thing when that talent gap closes. The team that's not going to put it on the ground, that's not going to make mistakes, usually has a really good chance to win. And we had a couple costly mistakes out there. We had a leak on protection on a PAT that ties the ball game at 7. And then we had another opportunity where, we for some reason had 12 guys on the field on a PAT, and we make the PAT and back up and we miss it, and that's at that point in the game, it's 14 points right there instead of 12, and you're not having to try to go for 2 and things like that. So, I mean, we had opportunities to get them off the field on 3rd down a couple times, and, we let them convert a 3rd and long, and that's just those things, that's got what we call money down. You got to be able to get off the field on that money down, and we did not. I mean, and some of that is tip the hat. They made some plays and we didn't. The other part is that we didn't execute. Coach Kirsten had us in some great positions to make plays, and guys just got to make plays. When your number's called, we got to make plays, and so we had a little some tackling issues there, and You know, and when you're tackling those big guys right there, it's important to have 11 hats around the ball. And so I think there's a couple things we got to get better at this week. You know, how do we bounce back? I mean, you know, everybody can't be, you know, and I was corrected Friday. John Mills won 62 games in a row, not 57. So, you know, everybody's not going to be able to do that. I mean, and so how do you bounce back from a loss? All of our goals are still in front of us right now. You know, region championship, playoffs, state championship, all that stuff's still right there in front of us. And I told our kids, I was like, you know, you got to play your A game, your best game when you get an opportunity to play the number one team in the state. And, you know, I thought at times we looked really well. I thought they didn't have an answer for us offensively sometimes. But, you know, we kind of, you know, then the next series we would kind of, you know, let some youthfulness and some mistakes creep in there and kind of shut us down. So we got to clean up some of those things, and we will see. I mean, this week is crucial for us. How do we bounce back? You know, do we take it on the chin and hold our head down and you know, woe is me, or do we bounce back and keep fighting? You know, if I know these guys, they're going to bounce back and keep fighting.
What do you expect out of Strong Rock on the road?
Yeah, I mean, Strong Rock has got a brand new coach from Portugal out of Charleston, and you know, he's a good coach, an established coach, been doing it a long time. I mean, he's a Veer guy too. So they don't do quite as much as John Miller's. They don't have those same caliber players, but they're tough. They're going to run a version of the Veer like we do. So you know, they're excited. They get to play us at home. You know, we got to travel up there 2.5 hours and go play in Locust Grove. So, you know, anytime you get to play an opportunity to play a 4A school, you know, on their end, if I'm thinking like them, I get an opportunity to play the defending 4A state champions. You know, we're going to get everybody's best effort. I mean, we have a target on us, and we know that, and we're going to embrace it. You know, but our guys got to also be able to rise to the occasion.
Here with Bulloch Academy lineman Jack Lanier. And Jack, coming off a tough loss to JMA, what kind of things do you feel like you guys learned from that game?
I think we learned a lot, and we're going to learn even more this week in practice. You know, it's the first time in the past 2 years we've had to come back and win a game after a loss. So I think in a way it'll be good for us. You know, we got to fight and come back and be better.
What kind of things do you think you need to improve on?
A lot of things. We gotta cut out the penalties. They're killing us. The O-line. I mean, as an offensive line, we got to block better. You know, especially pass protection. Yeah. And
then this week you've got Strong Rock on the road. How important is it to kind of send a message that, you know, this past Friday is not the Bulloch Academy that you guys have been striving to be?
Yeah, I mean, it's very important. You know, we got to come back and play a really good football team, a 4A school, and we got to go to their place. And I think it's important. We got to go win.
We're here with Bulloch Academy running back Danye Garvin, and Danye, a tough one there against JMA. What did you guys learn from that game?
We learned that tough teams like that would be a lot more physical, and so like we got to play like a better level, and yeah, just work hard and keep fighting, and we see the results at the end.
I guess the good thing is, even though you were down, you guys still fought back offensively and scored a couple of touchdowns there in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that means like, even though we down, like we come back up, like we still never quit. That's like part of the team. Like coaches, like they still be proud of us because we never quit, and so like that's like he wants us a team. Like we don't quit and just keep fighting till the end.
You've got Strong Rock on the road this Friday. How important is it to kind of send a message and come out and play a lot better than you did last Friday?
It's very important. Like, it's very important because like you know we came out for loss. We learned from our mistakes now. Like we watch the film right now, it fits our mistakes. So we hopefully won't like do it again and be better and progress way higher.
And a reminder, the Portal Panthers, coming off a loss this past week to Bryan County, will be on the road this Friday as they head to Mentor. That'll wrap things up for now. We thank you for joining us. Hope to see you again next week.